Turning back now to the latest move toward Middle East peace, or peace in the Middle East. We've seen this dance before, let's be honest. Will the outcome be different this time? Joining me now to discuss this are Ari Shavit, senior correspondent at Israeli newspaper Haaretz, and Daoud Kutab, a Palestinian journalist with ALMonitor.com, who joins me from neighboring Jordan. Thanks to both of you for being with us. Daoud, I'm going to start with you. So the announcement that Israel had authorized the construction of almost 1,000 new housing units in East Jerusalem. Is this enough to torpedo these talks that haven't even started yet?
It's putting a big dent on the those who believe in the peace process. The problem is that the Palestinians are trapped because they're hoping that some of the prisoners who were promised to be released 19 years ago would be released, and the Israelis have scattered the release over 9 months to ensure that the Palestinians don't walk out, even though the Israelis are doing things that are provocative and against the spirit of the peace.
Ari Shavit, people have been wondering, why announce this now? If you're Israel, you've agreed to go back to the negotiating table. These negotiations stalled for 3 years, and then you make this announcement. It sounds like something done in bad faith, no?
We are still in the early stages. This peace process, this renewed peace process, which is very essential, and I think Secretary Kerry and the American administration deserve every credit for trying to save the two-state solution by starting this process. But it is a process that is imposed on the parties, and there is no real willingness so far to really change hearts and to go through a real deep conversion needed to reach peace. So what you see is each side going forward with the process formally, but at the same time actually dealing with opposition within its own side. So what the Israeli side is doing, it's balancing the fact that prisoners are being released, which is something very unpopular in Israel. It's balancing it with this housing project, which I very much do not like and I don't approve of. But this is like the old politics that is pouring into the new process. And I think it shows us that the process so far is not very well founded and doesn't have very promising prospects at the moment.
Right. And Daoud, do you think the Palestinians are going to stick around and go through with these talks even after this announcement that new housing units were going to be built in Jerusalem, in the West Bank?
Well, first, Hala, these are not housing units. It's not a housing problem. These are illegal settlements that Ban Ki-moon has said that they're illegal, they're settlements. And the Palestinians are stuck. I mean, they're in a trap. They gave a lot of attention to the fact that they made a promise. 19 years ago, they signed an agreement with the Israelis in Sharm el-Sheikh that they would be released. And now, 19 years later, they are being used as bargaining chips by the Israelis to make sure that the Palestinians don't walk out when they do things that are completely against the peace process. So they're trapped. And Mahmoud Abbas has egg on his face today because he can't get out of the talks because he wants the prisoners released. And the Israelis know this, and they're using the fact that he's trapped.
Well, this just doesn't sound good at all. I mean, if you listen to sort of what both of you have listed just over the last 2 or 3 minutes, before substantive talks have even begun, I mean, are we looking essentially, are we looking at a process that is doomed to fail?
I think the problem is that
I think this is the great challenge, the great question and the great challenge.
Ari, go ahead, Ari. I just want to, and then I'll get back to you, Daoud. Ari.
Okay. I think you've asked the most important question. And let me put it this way. On the one hand, as I said, the effort to revive the peace process is benign and essential because the two-state solution is slipping away. But any attempt to impose a peace that the parties are not ready for will fail. Therefore, what is really needed is very creative thinking of bringing new kind of concepts, perhaps interim agreements, perhaps settlement freezes, perhaps coordinated unilateral steps, all kinds of steps that have not been tried before. Because if what the American administration and the international community will try to do is to try again what has failed 3 or 4 times in the past, in a neighborhood that is becoming more unstable and ugly. There is no chance to win the hearts of both Israelis and Palestinians and to move forward. But if a new approach will be tried, I think there is still a silent, moderate majority on both sides which will react to a new and more creative peace process.
And Ari, I've got to ask you this about something Gideon Levy even said, and we've had him on the program before, that there is really no peace camp in Israel, that this can't succeed because there really is nobody in Israel in a decision-making position who wants this to work or who has any incentive for this to work. What do you think about that?
I deeply, deeply disagree. You must look at the history, and here I must explain something about the state of mind, the justified state of mind of my people. Israelis are not benign or amazing in an amazing way, but they are realistic. They do want peace and quiet. They do want peace in a realistic way. Now, they've tried it 3, 4, 5 times in the past. They made concessions. They opened their heart to peace. And the result was disastrous in every time. The Palestinians might feel exactly the same. We suffered violence. They feel that they suffer settlement activity and Israeli expansion. I don't think the two are similar, but both sides have bitter experiences. Therefore, I think that if you show the Israelis and the Palestinians that there is a realistic approach that deals with the real reality of the region, that tries to work things in a different way, you'll be surprised by the moderate Israeli majority that is still there, and I hope there is still a Palestinian majority, definitely in the West Bank there. But
and
if
Ari,
you try to move in a day
Daoud the opportunity to respond because we're running out of time.
That will not work.
Ari, I want to give Daoud the opportunity to respond here. One of the things Ari is saying is, look, understand the mindset of Israelis.
Absolutely.
They've opened their heart to peace. They've been punished for it every time. Daoud, what do you say to that?
Well, they haven't. They have never froze settlements. They continue to build settlements. But the problem is in the mindset of the Americans and who think that they can just get Palestinians and Israelis together in a room, and the idea that only Palestinians and Israelis can make peace. We need an imposed solution, and I think the Americans and the international community have to have a blueprint of what peace would be like, and they have to basically impose it on both sides. There is no other way.
Impose it on both sides. Well, we'll see if these talks even get underway. To both of you, thank you very much for joining us. Daoud Kutab in Jordan, Ari Shavid joining us from Tel Aviv in Israel. Thanks to both of you.